Hi again, and welcome to part 2. A little exploration of who you're listening to, that's me, and why my journey has relevance for your journey. So let's just give you a little background of my professional expertise. I've been a certified trainer of NLP and Ericksonian hypnosis since 1988. I am a certified coach. I've had a successful private practice for over 4 decades by referral only. I am an Amazon.com best-selling author. I've written 5 books, most on the psychology of paradox, 2 poetry books, which I think of more as musings, 8 guided meditations, and I've trained people around the globe in both NLP, hypnosis, and Centered 24/7, which used to be called Paradox Management, and the Mystic's Wisdom Decoded, numerous names. Over 4 decades, I've also explored meditation, contemplation, mindfulness, the Enneagram, and the art of spiritual inquiry. So I just share that with you to know who I have been professionally, and then I want to share with you a little bit more about who I am personally. But over the years, I've worked with several thousands of people who have been on their quest for purpose and meaning. They may have come for something else, but at one point in time, this became the issue. So I wanted to share a little bit about how I came to be on that quest as well. When I was very young, I was kind of depressed. I thought I was a pretty unhappy person, kind of confused as to why I was unhappy, because I had a very nice childhood, as childhoods go, but I was convinced that I was pretty ugly and not very bright, and that I would never be able to live up to the accolades of what our culture said was a successful woman. So as the years passed on, I went to college and I was pretty sad there and pretty depressed. And as the years moved on, I began to inquire into possibly why this was the case. What was the issue that I was missing on that? And in that quest, I discovered that it was time for me to explore the spiritual life, put on a backpack, and headed with my partner of the time to India, where I returned 9 times over many years and studied with a guru there who essentially gave me my name, which I told you about before. And while I was there in that ashram, one of the times during those 9 years, I wanted to share with you the experience which became the basis for this work that you're continuing to learn a little bit about in this mini course. One day I was sitting on a wall outside of the ashram, and I was contemplating life and why I was still pretty unhappy, when this beggar came walking up to me, who I'd seen many times, but on this day I really noticed him with more detail. He had no shoes, he had tattered clothes, and he had no teeth. Yet there was an amazing smile on his face, and his eyes were literally shining, even though his hands were out begging for food. And I thought to myself, oh my goodness, I would never have that look on my face. I could never be that happy with those circumstances, ever. And I sat with that for a few minutes, and it really astounded me, because what I discovered was that, whether it be shallow or deep, I truly thought that happiness could only be found by eradicating all unhappiness. And on that day, I had an amazing discovery, and that was what it was. I went, oh my goodness, this is how I'm defining happiness. It can only happen to me when there's not a single moment of unhappiness around. As shallow as it may sound, it changed everything, and my quest to understand that and how to live with a deeper understanding became the foundation for Centered 24/7. I came back into the world much happier person for having at least cracked the nut for why I was so unhappy, and I went on to generate 8 meditation hypnosis MP3s, guided meditations. I became a little bit more capable of allowing myself to be photographed and to show my image in the world, because I began to realize maybe I wasn't as awful as I thought I was, either in looks or intelligence. I wrote 4 books that became the basis of what we're going to be talking about in this course. I then went on to gain even more I would say serious and a taste for practicality over the years, and all of it came together in the book called Unflappable. 6 steps to staying happy, centered, and peaceful no matter what. And this centered 24/7 training is based on this book. In fact, everything that's in this book composes the entire course itself. So keep that in mind if you're interested. And here's a picture of me just a couple of years ago, and you can see I'm a much happier person. Okay, so I wanted to share that with you because whether you decide that what I've shared with you is shallow or deep, it became a real jumping off point for me. I found it to be, yes, shallow, but also very deep, because I really did look at happiness as the absence of unhappiness. And as I went on to explore this, I discovered that I also believed that peace was the absence of war. Any war anywhere, any fighting, and peace was disrupted and disappeared. I discovered that I believed acceptance was defined by the absence of rejection. And of course, that was not doable because rejection always seems to come, even by people who accept me. And it went on and on to find other things where, in fact, the same dynamic, the same equation was at play. And so I had to ask myself, do these unconscious assumptions, because they were outside of my awareness until that day, are these assumptions an accurate description of the landscape of life? Well, all of us know, no, it's actually not. So what do we do with our unconscious assumptions that the bad stuff is capable of leaving and the good stuff can take over 100%? They don't simply disappear into thin air because we're on a track for gaining more mindfulness and presence and awareness. That doesn't happen. What we have to do, what I discovered and what Centered 24/7 is all about, is you learn to play the game of life from a new perspective. That perspective is the paradoxical perspective. What if everything that you think is wrong is also right? What if everything is wrong and nothing is wrong? Okay, interesting ways of asking the same question. What if everything that's fine is also not fine, and vice versa? I don't know if you've watched the movie War Games, but Joshua is the computer in that movie, and they're simulating war games. And at the end of it, he says, "This is a strange game. The only winning move is not to play." Now, that's an interesting conclusion to come to, and it is also the one that I came to. So here's the question. You still have to play the game of life because we're alive. But Centered 24/7 is about playing it from the paradoxical perspective. So what does not playing mean if we take Joshua's advice? Not playing means staying calm and centered in the presence of emotional turmoil. And that is a paradoxical perspective. How can you be emotionally upset and calm at the same time? So Centered 24/7 is about transcending reactivity, anger, and polarization while it is playing out. It is not about getting rid of reactivity, anger, and polarization. It is about staying calm, centered, and peaceful while it is in the process of playing out. So here's the thing. The focus in Centered 24/7, shockingly enough, is not on getting rid of emotional turmoil. That is not the goal of Centered 24/7. What we are going to do is install this new paradoxical option via your brain's neuroplasticity. And this comes from my background in neurolinguistic programming, which deals with creating new neural pathways in the brain in order to deliver new behaviors desired quickly and more easily. So Centered 24/7 is about helping you embrace the both-and perspective, which is life is both happiness and unhappiness, both joy and sorrow, both success and failure, both life and death. and release the either or perspective, which we have discovered is one of the key things that generates stress. And I'm going to keep talking about that so you'll know exactly what I mean and how to deal with it within the context of this little mini course on Centered 24/7. The thing I want you to know is that even though you can stay calm, centered, and peaceful in the presence of emotional turmoil, you can still act. Action still occurs, but without the emotional turmoil. And that is the gist, the core, the root of Centered 24/7. So what came out of this whole process was the 6-step transformational process. And this allows you to meet the 3 challenges that we covered in the first video with these 6 steps that are designed to make you able to stay centered in the presence of your own emotional turmoil and the emotional turmoil of other people. It allows you to reconnect with the grace that you receive from being centered 24/7 when you are under fire. You have the support from this higher perspective. And it frees you to remain firm in your vision for the possibility of a better future, no matter how much discord, uncertainty, or chaos is unfolding around you. Pretty powerful stuff. We'll talk about those 6 steps in detail in the last video. So Centered 24/7 is an expanded view of the world. It gives you the tools for dealing with the root of the majority of life's daily challenges, which are dilemmas, which I'm going to talk about a lot in the 3rd video. And it grants you the guidance that you need for gathering the practical wisdom that is resting there inside of your current discontent with the way things are. And we will also reprogram your brain to serve the wisdom of your discontent. And all of this together allows you to transform and expand your own conscious awareness. Now, the key here is the wisdom of your discontent, which is resting there just inside, will help you consciously embrace 2 unalterable and undeniable facts of life. Yes, I am saying they are unalterable and undeniable. Fact 1 is not something you're not aware of. Change is the only constant. Impermanence is permanent, and it is what creates the actual flow of life. Now, once you understand what's happening with impermanence, which is what Centered 24/7 is going to share, embracing impermanence becomes much easier and actually has a quality of almost magicalness to it. The second fact that the wisdom of your discontent will reveal is that there is a pattern to that flow of impermanence or that flow of change. That is the key that is at the root of Centered 24/7. It is a hidden pattern, and Centered 24/7 will show you how to make it work for you rather than against you. And that is what the wisdom of your discontent is just chomping at the bit to reveal to you, and Centered 24/7 is helping it out. All right. Now, the key is that these facts, and it's important that you discover this for yourself, are undeniable, unalterable, and personally verifiable. You're going to check it out for yourself. There's no need to believe anything or anyone, especially not me, right? And you can validate this, the truthfulness of this, by exploring your own experience via bringing your awareness and your presence more and more to the moments of your own inner experience. So Centered 24/7 will actually transform your worldview. I've heard it from thousands of people who've been exposed to this perspective. When you consciously embrace those 2 facts, impermanence and the hidden pattern within it, it will completely change your worldview, and that changes everything. It will impact your sense of purpose and the meaning that you're looking for and that you can create in new ways. And it will make the hidden pattern really obvious to you so that you can find it in the flow of change wherever and whenever that is happening. So by doing this, you will expand your own awareness because the hidden pattern will be obvious to you. And I'm going to share what the hidden pattern is, so hang in there, right in this little mini course. Not only do you become obvious to you, but you are free to then redirect its power. And that will make your daily life more workable and you a happier, more peaceful, present aware person, because the energy that was trapped in this unawareness will be free for you to use in new ways. So now let's move on to part 3 and explore the problem and the solution that Centered 24/7 is offering to you to manage these 3 daily challenges more effectively and more efficiently. Okay, thanks for tuning in on this video, and I look forward to meeting you in the next one. See you there. Much love.